I think it was like this really particular time in my life where I felt super, super, super sucked into like social media and like those kind of internet relationships that weren't very deep, that were very surface level, and being hyper obsessed with my own internet personality and like Instagram followers and likes and all this stuff. You get this burst of like serotonin or dopamine, like this burst of like this high. At the end of the day, when that's shut off, I felt more alone than ever because I wasn't really maintaining like friendships and stuff. I was like, I don't want to write another love song today or anything in that vibe at all. I want to write something existential. Within the next hour, we had written the whole song, and it felt very much like, this might sound kind of corny, but I felt like I like literally like channeled it from somewhere, because it says all this stuff that like I never really have like acknowledged necessarily in my life, but it all just kind of came out. So it was a really special day. Like I'll never forget like just like the angle I was sitting at looking at the piano, and like the way, like just the feeling of when I wrote it and everything. It was really cool. I've been thinking about my father lately, the person that he made me, the person I've become. I do think about my dad a lot, and that I kind of wish in a lot of ways we were closer. Hi, Dad, if you're watching this. I know my dad struggled a lot, you know, with depression when he was younger. We spent a lot of time together. He used to like drive me around my old bands to like our concerts, and he was like so supportive, and he would be in like the back of the room like jamming as like my bands would be playing to like 20 people, and we had a lot of those like beautiful times together. And I sort of feel like I don't necessarily feel like as close to him as I would like to, which is so funny because it's like here I am saying that in a video, and like, you know, having trouble sometimes saying that directly to somebody, which I think is so relevant to like what the whole song is about, is like having these feelings and sort of like projecting them through the internet and through your art, but not really saying it directly to somebody, which is why it's like, you know, I think people are lonely. It's because it's really hard to confront these things. I've been trying to fill all of this empty, but fuck, I'm still so empty. Yeah, I could use some love. Like, emptiness has been something that like has on and off plagued me for so long. Like I feel like I'm always on the search for something more. I don't know exactly what it is. I think some of the emptiness does come from, you know, I was diagnosed with clinical depression and OCD about 1.5 years ago. And I think, honestly, looking back in my life, I feel like I was in some way depressed for a long time. And I think a lot of it has to do like, you know, chemically, just like no matter what was going on in your life, just like not feeling bad. And I've been trying to find a reason to get up. Been trying to find a reason for the stuff in my bedroom and my closet. The baggage in my heart is still so dark. It was like January of 2019 where I was just like super stuck in bed, super depressed, like just like was really like crying most of the day, every day, and like talking to my friends, trying to figure out like what was going on, like why I was so sad and why I was experiencing such deep and an intense and nonstop anxiety, and nothing could take me out of that feeling, that lowness, and nothing could stop the anxiety that I was experiencing. So it felt like what is the reason anymore? What is the point of like owning anything? Like, you know, I don't know. I struggle with like that feeling a lot of being like, maybe I should just be totally minimal and have nothing. And like, why does anybody deserve anything? Like so many people don't have anything in life. Why is it that I get to, you know, like have a career and like be able to afford things? And what is the point in things? I don't know. When you're in such a low place, like feeling like there's really no point. Modern loneliness, we're never alone, but always depressed. When I say like we're never alone, like I think a lot of times like we're like physically alone, but we're never alone because it's like we're always on our phones, and it's like, you know, so many people, but you don't really know how they're doing. Like I can't tell you how often it is that like I meet somebody or I have like friendships or I witness friendships where I feel like there's like kind of like a depth missing, you know? And it's like really sometimes it's hard to like reach that next level of depth. To deepen a relationship, I think it takes a fair amount of like awkward time where you're just like spending a day together, not really doing anything. And people are always doing things now. It's like always you have to do so much and always be so busy that we don't have time to just like let those friendships like really develop naturally, you know? Like a lot of friendships are born out of days where you kind of like don't do anything, but you're together by chance. And then you like end up just talking about all sorts of stuff. And, you know, yeah, I think just like there's not time for all of that. No. Love my friends to death, but I never call and I never text. Love my friends to death, but I never call and I never text. It's like my favorite lyric I've ever written. I'm a person who's very outwardly loving, and like love means a lot to me, and like openness means a lot to me. It's like really important to me. If that matters so much to you, then why aren't you like, why is it that when a certain friend reaches out, I see it and then I take forever to respond, or like I don't, or like I'll avoid a call? It's almost like, I think part of it has to do with just my theory is like, if I'm doing something else that I deem more, my time to be more important towards, If that makes sense, then I end up kind of like shunning or just shutting off another situation. But then it's like I'm so distracted that I never end up actually reaching back out to that friend. And that's something I'm super guilty of. La-di-da-di-da, you get what you get and you get what you get. So modern loneliness, we love to get high, but we don't know how to come down. For me, I think it's not really as much a literal like about drugs. It's so rewarding in the moment to be chasing, like getting likes or posting a photo because you know it'll get more attention, or I don't know, it's a very addicting cycle. Constant distraction, constant, scrolling. I'll even get a high being like when I come back to my phone and it's like I answer a bunch of emails at once, or like some of it's like sense of accomplishment, some of it's just like sense of like immediate attention. Like everybody wants attention. It's like I don't know how to be truly alone, which is something I struggle with a lot. Like I actually am so bad at being alone. I'm always with my friends, or if I'm not, like I'm like distracted doing something. The coming down part is like just like what do you do with yourself when you don't have that attention or you don't have people around you? If I could break my DNA to pieces, rid of all my demons, if I could cleanse my soul. This sort of self-analysis has been something that's just become greater and greater in my 20s. I'll have moments where I've been like a bad friend and somebody will call me out in a big way, and I like think about it for months, or like honestly, like I still think about things that happened where maybe I was not the best friend from like years ago, and I just beat myself up over it. Then I could fill the world with all my problems, but that wouldn't solve them, so I'm left here alone. I have this thing I do where it's like I'll just like spill my shit out on Twitter or on Instagram, like whether it's some like big piece of sadness and I'm like, oh, I should be vulnerable and share this, or it's like something I'm angry about, or it's like anything, and I do it all the time, and sometimes I find myself doing it honestly because I know it's relatable and I know it'll get likes. And I think that's such a crazy thing that I don't know if any other people do. I imagine it's almost like, in a good way, vulnerability has been such a thing, on the internet now. It's like people aren't always like trying to pretend they have a perfect life. They're actually like showing their flaws, and like people speaking about mental health, which is so important. But I think it's actually gotten to a point where people know they're doing it for relatability, because they know that other people are going to like it, because they're like, I feel that too. And that's a weird thing. It's like you're not solving your own shit by going and complaining to the internet. Like maybe it feels good, and like it is good sometimes, because like to get something out and also to potentially help other people. But I think when it becomes a cycle of always doing it, it's sort of like, I don't know, what's the motivation really, Down, 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 down. We don't know how to come down, 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 down. We don't know how to come down, 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 down. We don't know how to come down, 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 down. We don't know how to come down. I think a big thing for me that's helped me with loneliness, honestly, has been like really, really committing to meditating and like doing that every day. And because I think the deeper I go into it, the easier it is to be with myself, and the easier it is to enjoy the current moment. Because like you can find anything beautiful in the current moment, and I think that makes it a lot better. It makes it a lot easier to be alone. Modern loneliness, we love to get high, but we don't know how to come. We don't know how to come down, 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 down. We don't know how to come down. I'm dreaming, I'm dreaming, I'm dreaming. Please don't wake me up. I'm dreaming, I'm dreaming, I'm dreaming. Please don't wake me up. Like wanting to escape this feeling of loneliness and just sort of dreaming like, oh, it is possible, it is possible, it is possible. But kind of being like, I don't know if it's really possible. In this time, like people are using technology and social media in a more wholesome and like meaningful way. Like I feel like, everyone's talking about catching up with friends that they haven't spoken to in forever. I call my parents a lot more. This is all we have is each other right now, and we don't have each other in person. I almost feel like the song is like flipped, and like things are a little bit technology wise, I don't know, like a little bit better.